Hello, Froggy here, and today we'll be getting outside of the Thrilladrome. This hole works for both Leeming Harbor and Zephyr Concourse, so keep it in mind if you want to explore under either of those. We've got a nice little spot you can land here. If you go too far to the side, you will hit a kill barrier inside of Leeming at least. I'm on my Hunter with a rocket because both of those things are going to come in handy in a bit. Although if you just want to be outside of the regular part of the Lost Sector, you can do that on any character. Might need to do a little bit of sword flying or sparrow flying though. On a Hunter we can just get away with grapple. There are plenty of holes to get under Leeming, so you can use whichever ones you know. Just gonna get my grapple back real quick here. And there's also plenty of ways you can navigate this area, but if I go the long way here, if you get lost, you're more likely to recognize one of these landmarks. However you do it, you're going to want to make your way to this section here where there's a hole in the floor. That's where you would drop down into the Lost Sector. A little bit of a infinite grapple point back there. I'm still not sure how you make those, but I sure do seem to get those a lot. Something with grappling and dying, I'm sure. Anyways, right about that corner is where you can hit the load zone. Pretty easy to die to it, so might take you a few tries. And we're out. There are a lot of enemies around, so I would recommend climbing up a little bit to get a safe spawn point in case you die at some point. Going to be doing some grapple climbing, so switching back to high lift. And might as well run around a little bit while we wait for the grapple to recharge. It is a fairly nice looking Lost Sector. And now it looks like we've got that little post stamp looking thing that we had in the last season's seasonal mission. Wonder what that's doing in an arcade. The Vex domain in this one is actually way up, though you can't see it until you get above that little, like, ceiling cover thing. It's convenient to get as high as you can to cut out on grapple time. This should do nicely. I'm going to be using a rocket grapple here. If you want to continue grappling upwards from that, you're going to need your super to get your grapple back. Just aim directly up, and as long as the rocket isn't too fast, you should be able to ride it to glorious victory. Or at least pretty high up. Sadly, rockets don't go indefinitely, so we're going to have to do the last bit of climbing ourselves. But it is definitely a whole lot faster. If you look off in the distance here, you can kind of make out some screens and a couple of rings. Those rings are actually solid and quite distant. If you're not using a rocket grapple to get up, I would recommend stopping by there first. But if you're rocket grappling, that probably adds a lot more time, so might be better off just going directly up. I haven't actually found a way to get inside from here because there's a death barrier around the whole thing as far as I can tell. But this ring does stick outside of it, so you can land here safely. Just getting my grapple back. And at the very least, this does give you a pretty good view of the whole place. You might be able to blink through it if you happen to be on a warlock. I haven't really tried. But as you can see, walk too close and you will just die. Getting a warlock up here would probably take an IRB, but it's easy to die to the load, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem. I haven't tried everywhere from the outside. Probably would be easier to try random directions from the inside, provided you don't get any turnbacks, which you also can run into out of the map here. If you fly over to the left of the rings that we started from, you'll hit them right about here. Don't know if there might be a hole in the kill area there. Well, let's see about getting a nice view from the top. You want to head a bit back out to avoid hitting the kill barrier on the way up. And eventually the lighting changes a little bit. I don't know how high up the true edge is, but it's higher than that at least. Get a nice little overview here. In the other Vex domains, it was generally safe to fall on top of the entrance point through like the little tube thing, but we don't have that in this one, so don't really know what we should target. Maybe I'll just see if there's something I can land on up here, like maybe the upper ring areas. Well, that's a clear no. Oh well. Anyways, let's go check out those lower rings. Especially since I did not have my second grapple there. So you can see that rings are over there, and they're actually about the same size as the ones we were just on, so they are quite a ways out. But after a fair bit of flying, you'll reach them. I recommend having an eager edge sword to help make the horizontal movement a little bit faster. This was actually recorded a long time ago when I was still using the melee to cancel the grapple. Anyways, there you have it. Grapple rockets, quite handy.